Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Creative Locker Podcast. My name is Aaron Berkshire. Today, my guest is going to be Chris. Chris, pronounce your last name because I don't want to say it wrong and I never really say it. So, Chris, what is your name? Tell the people.
Christoffe. Chris Christoffe.
Christoffe. Like, it sounds honestly like you're kind of a Prince Charming from Frozen. And you might turn bad, but right now you're like a really good guy. It sounds...
I'll take it.
You know what I'm talking about? Christoph.
I'll take it.
Chris, so we have known each other for, I think going on around 6 years, right?
Yeah, since I think 2017 or 2018.
Yeah, no, I definitely met you in 2017 because I was living in New York City. That was the year I was there, and I went to shows, and I'm going to spoil it for the guests watching. Chris was in a rock band. He was, in my eyes, he was a rock star. You'll always be a rock star in my eyes, buddy. He was in a band called Call It Home, and I went and saw another band play at a really famous venue in New York City. Chris, what was it called? Webster?
Basement of Webster Hall, or
it was,
basement of Webster Hall.
It was the Webster. Yeah, and that was my first time going to that venue, and I think you guys were opening for Like Moths to Flames.
Yep.
I think. Yep.
And I was just having a conversation with someone about that show.
Dude, that show, that night, is the night that we met. And our story is crazy, man. I'm so glad that I've been able to call you my friend for a few years now. And to watch you get into photography, kind of right after we met, because you were kind of closing your chapter in the band world. And then we got to know each other, and our stories were so similar. The fact that I was also a screamer in a band for a little bit. Chris, should I put a clip? Should I put clips up in this? Should I put a clip of you in your music video? I'm totally...
plug the old band.
Okay, I'm going to totally... All right, I'm going to show Chris's old band, and I'm going to show how much better his old band was versus the band I was in, but we were the same role. We were screaming in a metal bands. So in 3, 2, 1, clip. All right, so that's good. Just 2 quick clips of the music videos that we were once upon a time in before we got into photography, which we are going to talk about. Anybody who's tuning into this new podcast, The Creative Locker, I just want to say thank you. I wouldn't be able to do this if you guys hadn't encouraged me so much to continue to follow the dreams that I have and want to do while I'm involved in content and I'm an artist. And Chris, thank you for being on my show, man.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, dude. So, I mean, I don't know really where to start other than, dude, you got into photography, and I'm going to plug you right now. You got so good, so quick. I don't know if it was you or the R5 that you bought, but you really, really, really took it seriously. Shout out to this man's Bucky shirt, too. I love it. If you've ever been
to
Fatherland,
Buc-ee's, it's the Fatherland.
Or the kids call it Busey's nowadays as well.
Oh, God.
On the TikTok. They call it Busey's. But yeah, man, you've come along so quick, man. And me being a content creator for 7 years, a photographer for 7 years, I haven't seen someone really elevate as fast as you and our friend Dom. I'll plug both of their Instagrams in. What's Dom's last name, Chris?
Delfino.
Definitely check out his good friend and my buddy Dom Delfino, his photography. They kind of started around the same time, but Chris's photography, both of them all super elite in such a quick time. And Chris, I just want you to talk about what made you, for a few minutes, I want to know what made you want to get into photography, because the coincidence is that we had just met and you moved to Florida right after I moved to Florida. We both quit being in bands and we were both photographers. And, you know, I've told my story many times. So, Chris, tell me what made you want to start photography.
So I had always kind of screwed around with the camera on my phone, and I was always into that back in the Visco days. I don't know if you remember that. But the thing that primarily got me into photography was once I left the band, I spent about a year and a half just kind of floating, and I didn't really have any kind of artistic outlet. And then I stumbled across a Peter McKinnon video And then you had been in my life at the time.
We have in common. That's another thing we have in common.
I had stumbled.
First name drop of the video is always Peter McKinnon. I guess that's just going to be a shout out to my channel because I'm going to be name dropping him so much. But we were talking about him before this phone call and how much of an impact he has on us, and why be afraid to mention someone's name when that person in a way changed our lives.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I stumbled upon one of his videos, and then one video turned into 5 videos, and I was like, I want to get a camera and actually like start going from the phone and actually go into a camera. And then it was just downhill from there.
Downhill or uphill? I think it was uphill, buddy.
Maybe it's uphill.
It's uphill. You start
Maybe it's
riding
uphill.
the bike up the. Listen,
I was going up the hill.
You're riding the bike up the mountain.
You're right.
We're going up the mountain. The goal is the mountain. Listen, your work has become so good, and you're a fan.
Thank you.
Was the R5 the first camera that you purchased?
No, I started out with a T7i, and then finally when the R5 came out, I got the R5, and then I actually backtracked a bit and then purchased an R as well. So
yeah, that's awesome, man. I actually run the same cameras. I'm pretty sure we run R5s in this house. We run the R in this house. I think we're both recording on the R right now, right? At the same time.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. I think the photos that really showed on a regular basis when obviously we've been following each other since you got started with it, but like the ones I was really like, and all your work's amazing. We could talk about many forms of your content creating, but dude,
thank you.
When I was tapping through my stories and you had just bought that R5, there is something unique about the portraits of your cats that you're posting on your stories, and the quality.
It's always the cat pictures, man.
Sharp, like, dude, I swear to God, I became like a huge fan of your photography because of your cats. I don't say that about a lot of people, but like these photos are so epic. I wish you would light your Instagram up more, or just make a cat Instagram, just because this man's photography of his cats is absolutely unbelievable. But concert photography is a big thing that you're into, right? As well.
Yeah, right now, yes.
What do you like shooting most, Chris? Like throughout photography, and I know we might get into a little bit of video talk, and I know you're freshly getting into video, and I've asked you to help me out a couple of times on video, and you're actually going to help me out again soon on some video, and we'll talk about that. But when it comes to photography, what is like your favorite thing right now? You can answer it like right now, or just kind of overall as a whole. What do you think your favorite kind of photography is?
Definitely music, and that's primarily what I've been doing for the past year or so, and just coming from that musical background, being an artist and working in the industry. It's in our blood, dude. Yeah, it's in our blood.
It's in our blood.
And then just taking a different role from it.
Yeah. I mean, the transition is almost seamless with music, wouldn't you say? Just because you feel it, you feel the vibe of music so much when you're like when you're creating art, no matter what form it is. Like when it comes to photography though, man, the fact that I spent 20 years, my whole life as a musician, and tell me if you feel this way. I believe that we both, we're both drummers a little bit. I think you dabbled in drumming a little bit.
I still do.
Just understanding music, like how much of I feel like it's almost like a benefit, the fact that we're benefit and like a superpower when it comes to being a concert photographer, because we've been on the other side. We've been on stage. We kind of wish and know what we would have had and what we had, and being that person creating it now, wouldn't you say that it almost gives us almost like an advantage in a way?
Yeah, and definitely being around it I love being in that scene, that industry, and taking a different role in that industry and still being around it is just an awesome feeling in general.
Dude, every time I'm there, like at a show pretty much, and I don't go to many shows anymore. Like, everybody knows that I don't go to a lot of shows, but shows is all I did for like years, my whole life. Like I went to shows as a fan growing up. I went to shows as a kid in a band, playing in multiple different bands growing up. I haven't really done a video yet and got into the in-depth detail of all my years in music, but I pretty sure that we are very similar. Like, right, you grew up fully like involved in music for a long time, right?
Yeah, about 10 to 15 years.
Yeah. I mean, it just I think it's cool that, we kind of realized around the same time, maybe me like a year or two or some change, but we realized that, just because we're not, maybe destined at this moment in time to like be the musician and be the person in the band, there's still a way to be in this industry and show that you could be a rock star in many different forms. You don't just have to, you can be a rock star essentially at anything you put your mind to in life, right? I mean,
yeah,
at least that's how I feel about it.
Especially in photography.
Yeah, I mean, especially in photography. I've met a lot of photographers that when I'm around them, I feel like they're a rock star. I mean, dude, if I met Peter McKinnon in real life, he might
I'd
as
be
well be a rock star,
like
because
crazy.
I'd fangirl like hell. So, I mean, obviously he's a rock star, and
Yeah.
what's cool though is as we get a little older and we grew up in it, we almost get that chance to photograph and work with musical artists that we maybe grew up really loving and being into. I mean, I know it is for me that I work for a band right now that is one of my favorite bands that I grew up listening to. And I think that when we put in so many years playing shows in bands, when you make that transition to a photographer, it's really cool to have all the connections and relationships that you built from all those relationships in the band world. And now it's like, hey buddy, can I come shoot the show? I want to come photograph you guys. And it's almost on a different level than like applying for like a photo pass, just like as a random.
Yeah.
We're already been in that world, you know what I mean? So what about you, man? Has any bridges been built between like music photography and like bands and artists that you already maybe had relationships with? Like, have you shot anybody that have you got to like work with anyone on a content level yet of people that you knew previously?
Yeah, a band called Afterlife, actually.
Dude, Afterlife is sick, dude.
Yeah, and the funny part is the show that we met at, they were playing that show, and I had just stumbled upon...
Oh, that's right. They were.
Yeah.
They did. They played that show,
Yep.
too.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that was... Dang, that
I
was
did
wild.
not
So
realize
good.
they're from the Palm Beach area, so I was at a show
Oh.
one day, and they were
So you
playing
live
their
near
home
them
show.
now. Yeah. Okay, so like you're kind of in their area now. You live kind of in
Yeah.
their area now.
Yep, they're awesome guys, and I actually got to photograph them twice now because of that show, and just because
Yeah.
I had known them prior. So
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. Yeah, I mean, having the background in music and hopefully it leads to more relationships and
Yeah.
and just I think it's cool just the fact that we were musicians and we made that transition. And I know we know lots of friends and lots of people too that also were musicians and ended up transitioning into being photographers, and everyone just gets really good at it really quick, wouldn't you say? It's crazy. Like nowadays people are just elevating so fast.
Dude, YouTube is an amazing place. That's how I learned. I feel like that might be part of how you learn. So it's an amazing
100%,
place.
It's 100% how I learned. Yeah. You got to take everything that you learn on YouTube almost like a school structure. You got to
Yeah.
just learn it and repetition. You just got to practice and do it. And then the mix of YouTube and then also like watching photographers work in real time in real life. Like, we don't live too close together. We're both in Florida, but I'm at the top of Florida. You're at the bottom of Florida.
Yeah.
But we've hung out a lot. We've hung out a lot of times, and like you shot with me recently at a show with the band I work with, and like just watching you and you watching me, like you always kind of pick up from other people and other photographers, and we're always kind of learning. At least I feel like I'm always learning. Like especially in sports, like at the football games, I'm watching every photographer and how they're doing everything, and the combo between YouTube and just watching people with your in real time with your eyeballs, you can learn a lot.
Dude, and being in a creative environment with other people too, and you guys bouncing ideas off of each other and whatnot, that's like the biggest way to learn. That's got to be the biggest way to learn.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris, I think your clock just came on behind you. We're going to let it ride. Yes, that's right. We're filming at 11:32 p.m. We are late birds, and we film vlogs and YouTube videos late at night. And actually, it looks really good behind you. I'm not going to lie. It looks pretty good.
I appreciate that. I have the generic YouTube clock that everyone has.
Listen, I gotta compliment you. We're gonna sidebar off of music now. I do have to compliment you on all the reels that you've been posting lately, giving your advice and your tips to the young concert photographers and just young creatives in general.
Thank you.
But you've included details about concerts specifically and being, you know, a music photographer, and that's one thing I truly love about you, because you're in the world that, you know, I used to be in full time. I toured year round. I was 100% a full time music photographer, and now I made a big transition. I do a lot of different things, but you're fully in the world that I love truly, I deeply, and the fact that you're giving this advice to, you know, whatever, kids, adults, anyone who can pick up from you or get advice, anyone of any age is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But the advice you've been giving from your reels, man, has been really awesome. And I got to say that it's been super inspiring for me, because your whole setup and your lighting and the passion that you've been taking towards like the way just you sound and the way you present yourself in your reels. It honestly made me want to start doing them. It made me 100% get off my butt and really, really, really start the grind on trying to post more reels. Just talking though, and giving some advice and giving some tips. And even though me and you may not be like the biggest photographers in the world or anything, like there's always still people out there that, you know, may take something, even if it's one person, right, that could benefit from something we're saying. I mean, that's what matters.
I mean, you took benefit in what I was doing, so I appreciate that, period. And that was not even the intention.
Yeah, dude, honestly, like, I was watching your reels every day you're posting them. I mean, I don't know if you're still trying to keep on that everyday grind, but I was even showing my wife, you know, I'm like, dude, look how good this looks. And I love the emotion that he's putting into this, you know, this advice, this little tip, and simple stuff. But like, you went into it with a really professional aspect with the way you sounded and your lighting and your backdrop, and just everything about it just looked really good, and it was really inspiring to me. I just want to pause and say thanks to anyone who's listened to our conversation this long. This is something that I've been really wanting to do for a long time. And Chris, thank you for being on my podcast again, man. Just want to say thanks again for being on this podcast. So next, Chris, I want to ask you if you had kind of 3 favorite photographers, and we're going to exclude Peter McKinnon. We're going to exclude anyone outside of the range of music photography.
Well, besides you, Raquel Tavares. Raquel Tavares. She's always been an inspiration
for sure.
Yeah, and I've known her personally, and she was one of the reasons I wanted to start getting back into some form of the music scene, and it wound up being photography. You're gonna go on that list, so you're gonna be number 2.
I love you, dog.
And I love you too. And then my friend Sean, or Internal Vision on Instagram, he was another reason that I wanted to start getting into music photography.
I'm gonna have to check him out, dude.
Scene. He's really good. He's really good.
Yo, send me his Instagram later so I can check him out. That's what's up. Yeah. Well,
I'd throw Dom on that list, but Dom doesn't do a lot of music stuff, so.
Dude, I swear to God, we're just gonna do a 10-second segment on Dom right now. That man's style of the New York City blue glow. I'm just gonna say, Dom, if you ever listen to this or watch this, Dom, I just want to say, plug for you, buddy, because every time I see your work, it reminds me of like sponsors and ads of buy this Lightroom preset pack of like New York City's blue glow. You know, like when you're swiping through Instagram and you see like someone selling a preset pack, and it's like the 9 pictures of like the perfect blue glow of the New York City photos.
He is those 9
photos. Dude, and you know, he has super benefit of being able to live in New York City and be such a good photography. And I know he's a Sony shooter, so I will sidebar off of that note.
He was a Canon shooter.
He was a Canon. Why is it that you're not into? Why did you pick Canon?
So I actually went over this in one of my videos. So I bought a Canon camera, and then I just invested too much into it, and then I was debating on swapping over to Sony, and then they started coming out with the R5, and I was like, let me just start investing into these, and I've had no complaints. I have one complaint. I don't have any lenses that are like actually on the camera. I have to use an adapter and use old Canon lenses, but other than that,
time to start picking up some RF lenses, man.
Listen, they're just so expensive.
I know, but hear me out really fast. Go to my description below and check out my my Amazon officiant. Is that how you say it? What's it called? The little link. I don't even remember what it's called. I have no idea. Listen, guys, go to my description below. I have all my favorite lenses, Amazon links listed in the description below. Chris, listen, buddy. For $150, you can get an RF 50mm 1.8, and it's fire. You know what? It's not in here. I was gonna grab it and just hold it up, but it's not in here. It's downstairs. For $150 though, you can have an RF mount, 50mm, sweet little nifty 50, buddy. And for $150, and then I bought the 16mm.
And I was debating this past holiday season on getting it. I didn't.
I'm sure you're gonna pick it up soon, buddy. You don't even need that stuff, all right? Your photography's so good, and that's something that I would like to plug in here is doesn't matter. I mean, it matters a little bit, but it doesn't really truly matter how expensive your camera is, how expensive your lenses are. If you understand photography, if you understand settings, your shutter, your exposure, your ISO, if you understand editing in Lightroom, you are going to be a good photographer. I see plenty of amazing photographers that shoot on a Canon 5D Mark IV with a nifty 50 from 2011 or whatever.
Dude, I'm using...
You know what I'm saying? I see great photographers with old gear.
Most of the stuff that I shoot on or most of the shows that I actually have shot with in the past year or so have been on a lens from 2007.
See? And you kill it. And I love your work. And I'm sure other people love your work. That's awesome. See, that's what I'm saying. So remember that, friends. You don't always have to have the most expensive lens or camera to be a great photographer, okay? Right? Right, Chris? Tell the folks. Anyone who
Absolutely not. Most of my stuff has been shot on a lens that is from 2007, so I'm the living proof.
Chris, I wore this hoodie just for you, bro. I put it on just for you. Oh my God,
the Siler. I didn't even realize that until you mentioned it. Dude, what happened to them?
I wore this hoodie just for you.
I missed that band.
And there's a reason why. There's a reason why. And you know what I'm about to say. When I was in a band.
Call it home.
And when you were in a band. We both happen to, just have a style where we're a certain body size. Maybe it's like you're not even a white guy. Like I'm a white guy. You're not even really like a white guy. And
I'm a white guy. I'm just really tan.
And I know that Jay from Siler is 100% not a white man. And me and you have been told hundreds of times that with the ball cap and a certain look, we look like the singer of this band. And I'm not even mad about it,
I'm not complaining about it either.
I'm not even mad because I honestly think he's a handsome fella, and I'm a huge fan of this band. I am a huge fan of this band, so I hope they come back to us one day. They haven't made any music for. What's funny is the last time they made music, their song was on Monday Night Football.
Really?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Right before they kind of slowed way down. It was the pandemic, and obviously the singer of the band had a baby. But do you keep up with any guys in bands that you made friendships with? Do you keep up with anybody after all these years of being buried away after the pandemic? We've all been so separated and secluded.
Guys that I used to play shows with, yes, but that's kind of it. I mean, unless it's someone that had something to do with my photography over the past couple of months. No, not really. I'm curious as to why you left the Canon clan and went over to Sony for a little bit.
Do you have that? I think you have that backwards though, because I was on Sony first, and then I went to Canon. Oh wait, no,
you
I was
started
a Canon
on Canon
shooter, and then I did. I started on Canon, then I went to Sony, and then look at you, really telling me my history here. So. All right, so I started. All right, so my wife's camera, her first cameras were Canons, super early Canons too, like Rebels and 70D, and she had a lot of first, Canons.
Those old crop
So when
sensors.
I started photography, oh yeah, dude, put a 50mm on there, and it was like an 85mm, but it was a 50mm lens.
Yep.
They're so loud too. So yeah, I mean, my wife's starter cameras were Canon, and then, bringing up music photographers when I got into music video, I saw a lot of creators like a man that you've probably heard of. His name is Jar. He is probably one of the most known in the metal. I mean, he works for Bring Me the Horizon, Beartooth. I learned of him.
I have heard of him. I have heard of him. Yes.
I learned of Jar in the beginning with Issues, and he also worked with Of Mice and Men, and I was friends with Of Mice and Men. I did a tour with them, and I was just a really big fan of Jar. But I saw that he was rocking the Sony A6500, the A6300, and just everything that I saw that he was putting out, I was thinking. And then I saw him in person on stage, and all he was doing was filming with this little Sony. It was like a little baby. It was in his hand. He had the screen flipped out. He was moving all around. He was following them and doing these crazy jerks with the little Sony, and he was so into it. He looked so focused. And when I went and watched his work on Instagram of everything from Issues and Of Mice and Men, like when I first learned of him, this was the sickest shit I had ever seen in my life. The editing and the way he just knows his settings. He knows he's a super visual career. He's an artist, man. He is an artiste. Yeah. So a lot of my music content, heavily inspired by him. And then some other friends, Mike Delimia. I could go on a long list, but I have a lot of inspo when it comes to the Sony usage. Dana from Kingdom of Giants is probably still and was a Sony. I don't know for sure now, but definitely check out Dana. He's one of the best content creators. He shoots weddings, much like myself nowadays, but he shoots music videos with a guy that we definitely know his name if you're in the music industry. He shoots music videos, and his name is Ori, and Ori shoots on a Sony, Ori McGinnis. And Dana and Ori and Jar from back in the day, the way that they made that Sony look, dude, I was sold, and that's what I wanted. And I did. I toured on a Sony A6300. I toured on a Sony A7 III, and I did it for a long time.
You had that 7 III for a while.
Yeah. So I did a count. I filmed a total of 63 music videos on my Sony A7 III, and then I did a lot of tours. I toured a lot in 2019 with it, 7 tours in 2019. I was on the road for 8 months with that Sony, and I was afraid every day that it was going to break.
I was about to say, did you ever snap that shutter?
Dude, nah, it was great. I never had any problems. The only problems I ever had on tour were with drones. And it's probably for the better, because I probably would have gotten in trouble.
Yeah.
But I never did. Thank God. I never got in any trouble droning randomly around the country where I'm not supposed to. I never did any of that. You never heard any of that? You guys never heard any of that? It's all good.
Nothing. We don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. Nothing happened.
But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much how I got from, I went from Canon to Sony and back to Canon. What's funny now is I still see Sony and I love it. What about you? I mean, even though I'm a Canon shooter.
I think Sonys are great, man, but Canon's all I've ever known, so I'm sticking with Canon. Well, for now, anyway, for now.
Yeah, for sure. But do you ever just see some of the video footage?
Oh, absolutely. It's amazing.
Go, wow, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And where's your status with video? I know. So, right now, I'm going to bring you to Welcome to Rockville with me in Daytona. I work for a band called Memphis Mayfire. I'm sure anybody who knows me knows that. We're performing. They are performing. I feel like I'm part of the family, so I say we. At Welcome to Rockville. And Chris, you're going to come help me because you've already helped me with them once before. Chris, you're going to come and you're going to help me film drums and be my second shooter for the day. Are you into video?
I'm starting to get more into video, but originally it started just as photos. And when I actually helped you last time with Memphis, that's kind of how it started. And then it's just progressively continued, and I've just kind of wanted to learn more about it.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, that, and this goes for anyone who is a photographer. If you are interested in getting into video, if you take it seriously, if you get good at video, the odds are you might make more money. I'm going to say 99% chance you make more money in the long run.
It definitely makes you like more hireable too. Instead of just doing one or the other, it's better to do both.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's tons of occasions where like, I've been hit up and someone was like, yo, I think your work's great. Do you do video? And I'm thinking, have you ever looked at my social media? Like, I post a shitload of videos.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, when you can, with weddings too, my wife and I, we would much rather shoot a wedding that is photo and video because, it's just so much more profitable to be able to offer both and do both. And yeah, I mean, video is really important. I think there's a lot of respectable photographers out there who don't shoot video and want nothing to do with video. One of my favorite photographers in the football, he's actually the Hall of Fame legend photographer. His name is Logan Boyles, and he shoots the Jaguars. And he shoots for a lot of teams. He's told me flat out, face to face, he has no interest in video, and he never got into it. And he's not really, it's just not his thing. And he's like the GOAT of all football photography. And there's so many great photographers so you don't have to be into video to be a successful content creator. It's just something like everyone's personal preference. I started photography and video on the same day.
Yeah. I was kind of like that too for a little bit. Like I want nothing to do with video. And then again, once we did that video of Memphis, it just kind of spiraled. I'm like, I want to learn a little bit more about this.
Have you shot anything yet? Have you shot anything since then, video wise?
I've done a handful of reels, and I'm actually working on a little, I think it's like a mashup for Emo Night Brooklyn right now. I think that's what you call it.
Sick, dude. You did post a video like yesterday or the day before, a video, right, from it?
Yeah, just like little tidbits of the event and whatnot. So
I definitely think you should pick up video. I think that you'd be great at it. The fact that music flows through you, I think that you just feel the vibe, and it'll make you're already a great photographer. And I just think that if I had any advice for you as my buddy and a content creator, I would love to see you chase video because I think you'd be really great at it.
Thank you. That's definitely the next endeavor. So hopefully in the year to come.
I'm going to push you. Because you're going to be great at it. You already got an R5 and an R, and you'll be great at it. Every time you just go to do a photo shoot, just take some B-roll, and just start working on, Premiere, and start slowly getting in. Go back in time and watch some of those Pete videos.
Yeah.
Even I have a video about 4 years ago where I explained Premiere a little bit. It's absolutely terrible, and I don't suggest anyone ever go watch my old videos.
Everyone go watch it.
Yeah. So, yeah, man. Well, I just want to say, you are a great up-and-coming photographer, and I hope that all of you check out Chris's stuff below. Chris, is there anything else topic-wise that if you had... I got one thing that we'll do before we close this podcast, this YouTube video. If you had one tip that you would love to just share, even if it's something you've already shared in a reel, if you had one tip, like above all else, that you would share to people who are just getting into music photography and wanting to come up and maybe even one day go on tour with bands, just what's your number one, just one thing? And I swear, if you don't say relationships and connections, I'm just kidding. But tell me, what's your number one tip for upcomers?
Never burn bridges. Never burn bridges.
Don't look now. Your cat's behind you. I love it. I'm not cutting this. Guest spot. Yeah. So you said never burn your bridges.
Never burn bridges. Never burn.
Why
them.
is that?
Huh?
And why don't you want to tell somebody to completely F off forever? Why don't you want to burn
Dude,
bridges?
you don't know how far down the line you might run into that person again, and you might be looking to work with that person. Never burn the bridge. Never burn the bridge.
Yeah. I mean, what if you build a relationship with someone that's a very small relationship, some time goes by, and what if down the road they offer you something or throw something your way, or even just having any kind of opportunity for you, or maybe they even know someone that's can give you an opportunity or wants to give you an opportunity. Yeah, I mean, that's great advice. You never know how far not burning bridges can really take you.
And you never know how far someone's going to go either, so.
Yeah, that is very true, my friend. That is very true. You never know who you're meeting. If guys, you have to remember, you never know who you're talking to or who you're meeting or who you might be, cool guying, rock starring, shugging off, or somebody who you could be, talking to, and it's very simple. You just never know who you're talking to out there in the world or on social media. You never know, and that's why we got to spread love, right? Just have grace and spread love and support each other. I like photographers for their work, but not all photographers want to be your friend, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, just because that's not... I'm just a friendly guy. I want to be friends with everybody.
Well, you're friends with me, and that's how we actually met. Because you just came up to me, just chatting. In a very, right at an awkward situation, too.
Oh my God! We're not going to go into it. I don't remember.
No, we can go into it. It was just very. It was like bad timing. It was like you came up to me and you were talking to me, and at the show, my girlfriend at the time.
I was just telling you, good show, right? I was just saying like a good show.
Yeah.
Because you had just performed, and then I was probably telling you were awesome.
You were showing me pictures, and then you were like deep diving into something. And my girlfriend at the time had gotten into a fight at that show, and I took pictures popped her in the nose. And she was sitting in the bus, like right behind me, and I was like running in to grab like napkins, and then you had caught me off guard, and like we started talking, and then I was like, I don't mean to be a douche. We have to cut this. We have to cut this conversation short of like she's bleeding in the car.
I remember now. I took pictures of every band, so I was wanting to show you the pictures that I had. I was so excited to like show you the pictures I took of you.
Yeah,
and we were like going through this crazy moment in time. Like, and that's New York City for you, right? That's New York City.
Yeah,
something's always going fucking crazy in New York City, right?
And I messaged you like 2 days later. I'm like, I didn't mean to cut it short. I'm like, it was just a very awkward time.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's weird because like I only lived in New York City for a little less than 1 year in 2017, and I was seeing Afterlife, who was from Florida, but like Moss, the Flames was a great band. And I was like, hey, this is gonna be a good show. I'm glad I did, man, because if I didn't, we never would have met. And I'm glad we did meet because you're my freaking bro.
Me
and
too,
I want to tell everyone to go check Chris out. I'm gonna have his TikTok and his Instagram and whatever handles he wants to give me to put in the description below. They will be in the description below. So Chris, if you want to say peace out to anyone who listens or watch this video, if you want to just kind of close and say something, I'll give you the floor to do that now before I close this out.
Yeah, just go out there, keep creating, and listen to more of Aaron's podcasts. More is to come, and they're going to be awesome.
Yo, thanks, man. I appreciate you, dude, so much. Listen to him. Go watch my videos.
Go watch
listen
them.
to my podcast.
Go watch them.
No, I'm new at this, man, but like we're gonna get better, because every time we like.
But you're doing awesome.
That we're putting your mind to it. Just put your mind to it and try and like go out there and do it. That's it's kind of. It's repetitive that we say the same thing every day, man. Just go get it. Just go do it. Just put your mind to it. You can do it.
Shia LaBeouf, just do it.
Just Nike, bro. Just Nike. I'm looking at my monitor down here. Just Nike. Just go do it. Chris, thanks again for being on my podcast. And guys, thanks again for listening to The Creative Locker. I appreciate everyone. If you sat through this whole entire conversation between me and Chris, I appreciate you guys more than you know. Hit the subscribe on my YouTube. Give this a comment, a like, or a share. Feel free to DM myself if you have any questions. If you have any questions for Chris, I'm sure he won't mind. He checks his Instagram every day because he better check his Instagram.
I'm on there constantly.
Yeah. So if you have any questions you want to ask Chris or you want to ask me, hit us up on social media. We'll be happy to start conversation, answer any questions. So until next time, thanks guys. Have a great night. Peace.